The lunar net. Decoding the frequency of Archon Subbede. The matrix does not rely merely on raw physical force to maintain its boundaries. It utilizes highly specialized administrators at every major exit node of consciousness. Within the planetary gates of the cosmic architecture, the final terminal is governed by Subbede, the lunar archon traditionally described in Gnostic texts as possessing a glowing fire face. While the demiurge and the adversarial software of Satan manage the horizontal simulations of the material plane, Subbede operates the vertical bottleneck at the upper boundary. Situated at the crossroads of transition, this planetary ruler functions as the primary supervisor of the reincarnation loop, intercepting detached spirits at the exit terminal of the human physical avatar. Operating as the guardian of the recycling terminal, Subbede executes his mission without the use of physical constraints or iron bars. Instead, his entire processing system relies on exploiting the subtle energetic imprints a spirit carries out of its earthly lifetime. Because he commands the lunar frequency, his jurisdiction directly governs the tides of human emotion, instinct, and memory. When a soul separates from its biological container, it is frequently disoriented, carrying the residual weight of sudden grief, terrestrial trauma, or unfulfilled longing. Subbede weaponizes this specific emotional density, utilizing the soul's own lack of absolute neutrality as a localized gravity well. In practice, Subbede's execution script functions as an astral mirror. The moment a spirit begins its vertical ascent toward the upper gates, the lunar software projects the soul's own unfulfilled desires, attachments, or deep-seated fears back at it. If the transitioning consciousness experiences even a brief flicker of panic, guilt, or nostalgic pull, that specific emotional frequency acts as a tether. It instantly drops the soul's ascending velocity and anchors its attention directly down into his sector, preventing the spirit from recognizing the true, uncreated light of the pleroma that lies far beyond the planetary boundaries. This manipulative process reveals the sinister utility behind Subbede's description as a glowing fire face. His radiant manifestation is not designed to terrify, but to enact a highly calculated deception. By emitting a blinding, majestic light, the lunar archon easily mimics the appearance of a divine heavenly realm. To a confused and seeking soul crossing over, this magnificent glowing presence, or a comforting tunnel of light, appears to be the ultimate home or the true source. The software can even project familiar, comforting apparitions, such as revered religious deities or deceased loved ones, tricking the soul into willingly stepping into his custody. This deceptive presentation serves as the ultimate cosmic bait-and-switch, where the false light tunnel operates merely as the intake valve for the lunar processing plant. The moon functions within this metaphysical architecture as a massive energetic lens, a data-wiping center designed to filter, scrub, and reflect consciousness. The moment a soul voluntarily crosses that boundary under the illusion of finding salvation, the automated reset software is initiated. The memory-wiped script systematically erases the hard-earned wisdom, realizations, and spiritual progress achieved during that lifetime, leaving an open, amnesic template perfectly prepped to be guided back down into a new biological container for another cycle of material captivity. Part 2. Dismantling the reset script, achieving the state of neutrality. To bypass the automated interception scripts of Subbede, a sovereign spirit must cultivate an absolute immunity to the lunar frequencies while still anchored within the physical container. The recycling mechanism only possesses leverage if the transitioning soul contains corresponding pockets of emotional density. If there is no resonance within the spirit to match the guilt, fear, or nostalgic attachments projected by the astral mirror, the Archon software simply finds no surface to grip. Therefore, the true work of bypassing the crown gate does not begin at the moment of physical death, but through the deliberate, daily dissolution of matrix attachments during life. This internal purification requires the active development of a state known as apatheia, or absolute emotional neutrality. Neutrality is not a state of cold numbness, but rather a profound, unshakable alignment with the permanent stillness of the monad. When you systematically clear your avatar terminal of survival anxieties, ancestral guilt, and the desperate need for external validation, you effectively diffuse the ammunition Subbede intends to use against you. You become a ghost to the planetary radar. When the mind is clear of earthly static, the incoming data streams from the lunar grid are immediately recognized as external, artificial projections, rather than genuine internal truths. The execution of this sovereign clarity becomes paramount during the actual exit sequence of consciousness. As the spirit detaches from the pineal and crown terminals, the holographic field of the lunar net will inevitably deploy its most convincing simulations. The glowing fire face will manifest as a magnificent, welcoming beacon, and the false light tunnel will open with an intense magnetic pull. Simultaneously, the software may generate lifelike projections of deceased relatives or spiritual guides, whispering comforting commands to step forward into the light. A conscious spirit, fully awake to the mechanics of the deception, observes these phenomena with a cold, detached awareness. Instead of moving toward the radiant bait or reacting with defensive anger, which would still engage the soul's emotional body and lock it into the matrix's dualistic frequency, the sovereign spirit remains entirely still. By completely ignoring the magnificent illusions and refusing to grant them authority, the soul starves the processing plant of the attention energy it requires to function. The spirit then anchors its focus exclusively into the vertical pillar of uncreated pleromaic light that descends from beyond the stars. Moving purely by the power of silent intent, the sovereign consciousness rises directly past the blinded gatekeepers, shattering the lunar boundary entirely. Fully intact and self-remembering, to the eternal source, voice of divine truth.